pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Adequate notice of this meeting has been sent to all council members on March 6, 2015, and to all legal newspapers in accordance with provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law, 1975.
The public is hereby advised that any statements made during the meeting of the Township Council of the Township of Saddlebrook may not be privileged or protected, and that persons or entities who take issue with such comments or are offended by same may and have in the past sought legal redress through the courts. Any member of the public who addresses the council speaks for themselves and not for the council.
At this time, we're going to go into presentations. Mayor?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Tonight is a very special night in that we're going to be honoring and recognizing 5 very special women from our community. This month is National Women's History Month. Back in 1980, former President Jimmy Carter had issued a proclamation declaring the week of March 8th, 1980 as National Women's History Week. He said too often the contributions of women were going unnoticed. He stated the achievements, leadership, courage, and love of the women who built America was as vital as that of the men whose names we know so well. After that, in 1987, the United States Congress declared March as National Women's History Month. Since the early 1980s, Saddlebrook has been celebrating National Women's History Month. This evening, we, the council and I, have chosen 5 women from Saddlebrook to be recognized for their outstanding contributions. This year, we chose to do it a little bit differently. We chose women in 5 different categories. Those categories were government leadership, community service, educational excellence, business leadership, and outstanding citizenship. Unfortunately, two of those honorees could not be here tonight, but I'd like to publicly acknowledge them. Deborah Gross-Quattrone received this award for government leadership. Deborah grew up in town. She was a member of the Board of Education. She was the president of the Board of Education. She's an attorney in town. She was our municipal court judge at one point. Just most recently she was. Prior to that she was too. She also was the township attorney for a short period of time. And most recently she was made a Superior Court judge, which is extremely, thank you, an extremely big honor. So that's why we're recognizing Deborah. The other woman that could not be here, her name is Diane Bonner. She received it for community service. Diane has been involved in our recreation program for over 15 years. She has been the commissioner of both girls and boys basketball, as well as softball, girls softball. Now Diane, she's been doing this for quite some time, and the last several years she's been doing it. She doesn't have any children in the system, but she's been doing it anyway. She also has done the task of scheduling all the events, all the games at Veterans Field, which is a huge undertaking. So, congratulations, Diane. Okay, now we get to the 3 women that are here. I'm going to start off with Nancy Gara. Nancy, could you come up, please? Okay, Nancy, she received the award for outstanding citizenship. Nancy, before I read the proclamation, I know she was a founding member of St. Philip's the Apostle Church. She's a current member and been a member for a long time of the Senior Advisory Committee. She's a very caring and compassionate person. I know that personally. One of the things that she does for a lot of the people in town, friends and other, senior citizens or people that can't drive, she drives them to appointments and events on a regular basis. She's good friends with Father Matthew from St. Philip's. Father Matthew gets driven to the doctor. And I got to say that I could just imagine the dialogue between you and Father Matthew. Father Matthew, he's the spiritual advisor, but I have a feeling. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think you kind of tell him how it is on earth here, right? But anyway, Nancy, you look and act like you're 29, okay? But the truth is, it's actually the reverse. So look at, God bless you. Okay. I thought it was 92. Oh, okay. Oh, that's, yeah. Let me get your proclamation. Okay, this is a proclamation from the office of the mayor honoring the accomplishments of Nancy Guerra in recognition of Women in History Month. Whereas Nancy Guerra was born in Hasbrook Heights, New Jersey on June 5th, 1923, to Anne and William Soden, and attended Hasbrook Heights High School. And whereas Nancy Guerra, wife of Paul Guerra for 51 years, is the mother of Nancy, Kathleen, and Patricia, grandmother of 8 children, and great-grandmother of 14 children. Great-grandchildren. Whereas Nancy Guerra was employed at the People's Trust Bank in Hasbrook Heights, she worked as a secretary at the Bendix Aviation Engineering School in Teterboro, New Jersey, and was also a secretary at St. Philip the Apostle School for 26 and a half years. And whereas Nancy Guerra is currently a member of St. Philip the Apostle Church since 1953, and since 2005, she has received as a secretary for as the secretary for the AARP. Nancy is a member of the Senior Center Advisory Board in Saddlebrook. The attitude of gratitude is what she feels maintains her full life. Nancy helps residents and friends by driving them to their doctor's appointments and running errands wherever and whenever they need to. Now, therefore, I, Robert D. White, Mayor of the Township of Saddlebrook, along with the members of the Township Council, honor the achievements and the distinguished career of Nancy Guerra and acknowledge her outstanding leadership and exceptional contributions to the recognition of women in History Month.
Well, as of last week, we have lived in 67 years in Saddlebrook. I'm in the same house, and I have to say that we are so happy that we came to Saddlebrook because it has been a town of nice people, community, and you know what? I'm still there, and I want to say that I am part of and resident of Saddlebrook with much pride. And I also have to say that if anyone doesn't know, that as a senior, we are also very afforded of opportunities for us, for our needs and our pleasantries, because we have the senior center every day. We have the senior bus that takes people shopping who can't go shopping and their doctor's appointments. And Joe Leslie does a wonderful job for that. So as a senior, and on behalf of the seniors of Saddlebrook, I thank you. And I thank you all for everything. Thank you. I am overwhelmed by this honor. I feel like I'm bewildered and awed and humbled. So thank you. And God bless you.
You're welcome. Okay. The next honoree is Mrs. Kathy Ioli. Now, I know Kathy, I don't really call her Kathy ever, but I call her Mrs. Ioli because I know her since I was 5 years old. Mrs. Ioli started her career, her educational career, at Long Memorial School, elementary school, as a class mom and then as a lunch aide. So I could just say this. I remember Mrs. Ioli in that lunchroom. And believe it or not, I was kind of a quiet kid, shy kid. So she was there to protect those children like I am. I got picked on a little bit because I didn't talk too much. So she was always very supportive and caring and compassionate to the children. And you know, we have all these laws today, anti-bullying laws that are out there. And you know what? They're needed, I guess. But it was a long time ago. But back then, in the 70s, when you were the lunch aide and the school mom, you wouldn't put up with that kind of stuff. You nipped that in the bud right away, you and the other mom. So, and we appreciated that. You worked at the school district for over 40 years. You're currently the secretary for the business administrator. And I think you've been doing that long enough that I think you probably could do that job. But anyway, you have both your son, Vinny, and your daughter, Nancy, both still live in town. Okay? Vinny is a member of the Volunteer Ambulance Corps. He's also a police special in town. And Nancy has been very involved with her children. She's got 5 children. 4? Okay, 4, I'm sorry. Well, one stepdaughter, so it's 5. That's right, see? Okay, proclamation, Office of the Mayor, honoring the accomplishment of Catherine Ioli in recognition of Women in History Month. Whereas Catherine Ioli was born in Weehawken, New Jersey on January 6, 1938, to Nancy and William Castellucci? Okay. And Castellucci, and graduated Cliffside Park High School in 1956. And whereas Catherine Ioli, wife of Vincent Mario Ioli Jr. for 49 years, is the mother of 2 children, Vincent William Ioli and Nancy Helena Ioli Santos. She is also a grandmother of 4 children, Amanda, Matthew, Christopher, and Michael. And whereas Catherine Ioli came to live in Saddlebrook in 1964 and began her journey by volunteering at Long Memorial School in 1967, Catherine went on to work part-time in our school district as a secretary and librarian. Then Catherine opened her own business, a personnel agency called Amanda and Matthew. In July 1990, Catherine settled in at the Saddlebrook Board of Education, working as a secretary to the superintendent, and has been a part of the educational community for 43 years. Was it the superintendent at first? Okay, business administrator. Okay. Whereas Catherine Ioli is a member of the St. Philip's the Apostle Church since 1964 and shares her compassion for the residents of Saddlebrook and beyond with her children and grandchildren who helped her volunteer at the First Reformed Church food pantry to distribute holiday meals. Catherine also serves as a member of the Legion of Mary. Now, therefore, I, Robert D. White, Mayor of the Township of Saddlebrook, along with the members of the Township Council, honor the achievements and distinguished career of Catherine Ioli and acknowledge her outstanding leadership and exceptional contributions in recognition of Women in History Month. Sure.
Okay. Dear Mayor and Township Council, I greatly appreciate and accept this proclamation. It is with great pride that I stand before you. Someone once said that if you do what you like, you never have to work a day in your life. I live that statement. I have loved volunteering and working in the Saddlebrook School District all these many years. My co-workers in the board office and throughout the district are my extended family. They make my day, each and every day. I have the best boss in the world, Ray Carati. Our superintendent is a godsend. Gina Galvin, Linda Croce, Brewster Polaro are so wonderful to work with, always ready to help. And the little girl that I sit next to, Tricia Calderon, poor little thing. She has to put up with my silliness all day, but she comes to my aid constantly. I have no patience with the internet, but she is there in a second to help me. Also, I have to thank Pete Ladico for all the help with all the government issues that I always bother him with, but he is always there. These people make my work life so easy. There have been so many wonderful women in the past that have inspired me, two of them being my mother and my grandmother. They taught me always to put my best into each task and leave each situation better than I found it. To seek the beauty in all people and in all things. Give love and compassion to all around you, because it comes back to you many times over. And then there is my daughter, who raised 4 beautiful, intelligent children without a husband for the first several years of their lives. She put herself through school and became a certified medical assistant. She has shown me that with strength and courage and the love of God, everything is possible. There are so many other women that deserve this acknowledgement more than I do. The single mother who has to work 2 jobs, the woman who has to take care of an invalid father, mother, or husband, or the woman who has a special needs child that needs her attention 24/7. I could go on and on. These are the unsung heroes in my mind. These women have all succeeded. In doing so, they make America succeed. I have one more thing that I would like to say. I love Saddlebrook. In my mind, there is no other town as wonderful as Saddlebrook. We have the best police, fire, ambulance department anywhere in the world. I am so happy that my children and my grandchildren have the opportunity to grow up here in this wonderful town. Again, thank you all so very, very much.
The next honoree is Preeti Sherawat. Preeti is the owner of the 7-Eleven on Market Street. She's owned that for over 10 years. She's also the owner of the 7-Eleven in Elmwood Park, the newer one on Market and Boulevard. Preeti is a very successful businesswoman. She's always very courteous and respectful to the customers. But most of all, she's got that big, beautiful smile that we see out there. She's very generous to the township. She donates to recreation and other civic organizations. She's a very big sponsor for our Special Olympics torch run every year. So at this time, Preeti, you want to come up? This is a proclamation from the Office of the Mayor honoring the accomplishments of Preeti Sherawat in recognition of Women in History Month. Whereas Preeti Sherawat was born in India on July 1st, 1972, and came to the United States in 1997. And whereas Preeti Sherawat received her master's in political law in India at the age of 21, and also studied international business and marketing at the New Jersey City University. And whereas Preeti Sherawat has a passion for sports, and she was very active in India, where she received 3 national titles, receiving her first title at the age of 11 for cross-country track, followed by basketball and handball. And whereas Preeti Sherawat opened the doors to her first business in the year 2000 in Jersey City, New Jersey. Currently, she owns 2 7-Eleven stores. The first store in Saddlebrook will be open for 10 years this coming August. The second, located in Elmwood Park, has been open for 8 years. She makes several contributions to numerous Saddlebrook activities and organizations. The Saddlebrook Special Olympics is a particular one she is fond of, and considering her love of sports. Now, therefore, I, Robert D. White, Mayor of the Township of Saddlebrook, along with the members of the Township Council, honor the achievements and distinguished career of Preeti Sherawat and acknowledge her outstanding leadership and exceptional contributions in recognition of Women in History Month.
I love Saddlebrook. I could not move from here, and I don't even consider. My sister lives in Montclair. She tried to move me to Montclair. I said no. I love Saddlebrook, and you're all welcome to 7-Eleven. We make fresh coffee. And thank you very much. I thank you. I thank you, everybody. You're welcome.
Keeping in the tradition of my predecessor, we we are appointing women to high-level positions in this town. At this time, I want to introduce two recent additions to our municipal court. The first is Miss Rose Tobito. I'm going to read her resume. Rose was appointed prosecutor of the municipal court. Rose Tobito was the beneficiary of the prestigious Seton Hall University Scholarship, where she attended and received her Bachelor's of Arts, magna cum laude, in 2001. She then went on to Seton Hall University School of Law, where she received her Juris Doctorate with honors in 2004. She was an active member of the Seton Hall University School of Law Family Law Society and served as a legal intern at the Seton Hall Law School Center for Social Justice. Rose served as a judicial law clerk to the Honorable Lawrence P. DeBello at the Superior Court of New Jersey, Hudson Vicinages. She operates her own law firm, the Law Offices of Rose Tobito Esquire, which currently has two offices, one in Rivervale and the other in North Bergen. Rose represents numerous clients with a vast array of legal issues and is fluent in both Italian and Spanish. She is a member of the Bergen County Bar Association and the Hudson County Bar Association. Serves as general counsel to the North Bergen Housing Authority and is currently the prosecutor of West New York Municipal Court.
Thank you. Just want to take this opportunity to say I greatly appreciate the opportunity to serve Saddlebrook. I'm excited about it. I intend to do a great job, and I'm here for anybody who needs me at any time. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Rose. The next individual is a woman who was appointed the public defender for our municipal court. Her name is Gloria O. Gloria, please come up. I'm going to read Gloria's resume as well. After working in the financial industry for many years, Ms. O started her own title agency in 2006 called ASAP Title in Englewood Cliffs. While working as a commercial lender, branch manager, and various other positions at J.P. Morgan Chase, Citibank, and Commerce Bank, she enrolled in law school to fulfill her dream of becoming an attorney. While managing her title business and raising two teenage sons, Ms. O completed her law school education as a part-time student at Pace University and was admitted to practice law in New Jersey. Ms. O's solo practice is located in Englewood Cliffs, where she maintains a general practice concentrating on real estate, zoning, tax appeals, bank review work, guardianship, and municipal court cases. She offers bilingual legal services in English and Korean, and her office services clients from a diverse background. In addition, Ms. O is the alternate public defender in Fort Lee and Ridgefield. She is also a court-appointed attorney in guardianship matters in Bergen County. As a longtime resident of Englewood Cliffs, Ms. O served on the Board of Health and served as past president of the Fort Lee Regional Chamber of Commerce. In 2011, Ms. O ran for council in Englewood Cliffs, and she was elected as the highest vote getter and the first Asian American council person in Englewood Cliffs. Ms. O.
It is my honor and pleasure to be here tonight. I thought my town was the greatest until I came here. I feel like I have to move to Saddlebrook at one point. My first day at the court, I told all my friends and my family members that I've never felt more welcomed. And, you know, everybody at the court started to greet me in Korean. So, you know, I guess the church, the Roman Catholic Church in Saddlebrook has big presence. And, you know, I didn't know how much big of a presence they had here until I went to court. So thank you very much. It's really nice to meet everybody here, and thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome. Thank you.
First and foremost, congratulations to all our wonderful honorees this evening. We're so very lucky and proud and happy to have each and every one of you a part of our township. In addition to that, at this time, I also would like to take this opportunity to recognize another woman with ties to Saddlebrook. Angelina Simaluka, Andrew's mom, recently passed away at the age of 87. After her husband died at a young age, Mrs. Simaluka raised 3 boys on her own while working at Macy's. Later in life, she enjoyed travel, dancing, and being an active senior citizen. After a short illness, she left us to join her husband. Tonight, we extend our sympathy to Andrew and his family and celebrate your mom's life and devotion to her family. And while we're congratulating women, I'd like to congratulate a group of young women that over this past weekend, an amazing accomplishment. The Saddlebrook Spirit Leaders, Pee-wees, juniors, and seniors won their national championship in Hershey, PA. In addition, the seniors were crowned as grand champs. We'd like to congratulate them. We are a wonderful town. I'm so proud to be here. Okay, at this time, we're ready to continue with our agenda. I'd like to make a motion to open the meeting to the public.
Motion.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? At this time, the meeting is open to the public. Anyone wishing to be heard, please come up, state your name, address.
This time I'd like to read a short letter. It's from me, I addressed it to all the council members. At the December 4th Township Council meeting, resolution number 12, authorization the waiver of ordinance regulating the start time for construction of the self-service facility to be built at 635 North Woodland Avenue. Resolution 601214 waived the starting time, but please note in the second paragraph that it added Saturday construction. I would appreciate the council reviewing the Township of Saddlebrook's noise ordinance 133-7, construction and demolition, which prohibits construction on weekends and holidays. To be clear, the self-storage facility is built in a residential area. It was passed by the zoning board in 2014. Many variances were passed by the Saddlebrook zoning board in order that this building be constructed in a residential area. In closing, I hope you vote no for the Saturday construction, not only because I live across the street from this, but because, as stated in Chapter 133 of the noise ordinance, which I guess you guys have a copy, that the Saddlebrook law should be followed. Thank you for your kind response.
Thank you, Mr. Sullivan. We did receive your letter, and the attorney is looking into it. We will have an answer back to you soon. You're welcome.
On Tuesday, the engineer, or previous engineer. First of all, I'd like to say, I don't believe he should have been carried over. His time was to December 31st. We're carrying him over on a project. Not only did he present the plans that night, or whatever drawings you had people to look at, and he expects you to absorb all of that information, make all the decisions and everything. I mean, he's really not doing a good job, and his heart's really not in it, because he's no longer our township engineer. I mean, I hope I heard correctly, or didn't hear correctly, that he had architectural fees for $37,000 for the refreshment stand in the bathrooms. Did I hear that number correctly?
Yes, I think that's it.
Anybody? Did you all have your ears on that night? 37,000. What are we building? Another $400,000 salt shed? I mean, this guy comes in here. Look at his bill for the month. $66,000 for the month. What did we redo? The whole town? Last month was $47,000. That's $110,000 in 2 months. And I don't really see any progress or anything that we're really knocking them dead with and finishing. I mean, Fifth Street's been ripped up for 5 years. Market Street is a disaster. I'll address that. Like I said, from the Saddlebrook Diner to Elmwood Park is a one-lane road, and all you see is taillights and brake lights, and everybody's backed up. Like I say, I'm not an engineer, I don't know, but I'm sure other things could have been done with that wasted space in the middle. Okay, but like I said, that was, I don't know whose idea that was or how he presented it to you. But I mean, we didn't solve any problems there on Market Street. Probably worse now. Takes you longer to get to Elmwood Park now than it did prior to the traffic lights being put in. I mean, when do we say enough's enough? I mean, on the zoning board, I haven't seen him yet. I haven't seen him. Now, if he doesn't show up, is he supposed to send a replacement or have somebody cover for him? Ms. Mazur? He should have somebody cover, right?
Yeah.
We haven't seen him yet. Okay, like I say, if his heart's not here, I mean, he called me on 2 separate occasions and, you know, asked why I beat him up at the podium and why I did this one. This is why. This is why. Show up. I mean, you're making that money. Are you embarrassed to come here and say what you're doing? Look at the things he does with the fields. He presents you with the plans that night. How can you people look at the plans, read the plans, and make decisions? And then he says, okay, it's going to be $37,000 for architectural fees. Like I say, we're trying to keep costs down. I always thought cinder block, decorative block would be cheaper than putting the tiles and everything. I mean, did you give him a blank checkbook? Or we still don't know what this project is costing us. We have no idea, and we're going, and we keep going, and we keep letting him talk us in. Here's what you have to understand: the more money he spends, the more money he makes. Okay, like I told you, on the salt shed, if the salt shed's $400,000, he's going to get 10%, $40,000 commission. We can build one for $40,000. What would his commission be? $4,000. So that's why we're presented. And if we would have taken it, we would have taken it. You would have went for $400,000. Don't matter. I mean, there's projects that, like I say, that field was bolted ahead. Pump station wasn't looked at. DPW wasn't looked at. Mr. Simaluka makes the comments, you can't run the town like your business or like your house. But if your roof was leaking, like I say, that roof's been leaking for 2 years now. It doesn't take that long. I don't care how many times you want to send it out to bid. It doesn't take that long. You do the projects that you want to do, okay? And you know that was the previous administration to jam that thing down. Same thing with Cordwell Avenue. Special meetings, after special meetings, all the residents showed up. There was about 100 people there. One person was in favor of that Cordwell Ave project. Nobody listened to what was being said by the people. You just don't listen. You just do what has to be done there. Like I say, it was her project, her people, and the Republicans had the majority. And they jammed us. They jammed us with it. The other thing I'd like to say about the TV, there was, Mr. Lenny put a presentation on, or came up to the podium on Tuesday. Like I say, Lenny did it. He did it as a volunteer. He did a great job. Okay? But it's like having an old car in the garage. You keep your car in the garage for 20 years. Now you want to take it out. Can you use it? It's outdated. It's antiquated. That's what our equipment is. Our equipment was in cold storage for 20 years. Okay? Now to go out and buy all new equipment and stuff like that, it's a big number. It's a big number. Like I said, I happen to agree with this here of using an outside company. And like I say, he made a remark that the company was from Patterson. Does it matter where they're from as long as they do the job? I mean, Lenny was a volunteer from Fairlawn. Did we ever question his residency, or did we ever question where he came from? We just accepted him. He came in, he did his job, did a good job, and that was it. It didn't matter to us where he was from, and it shouldn't matter where this new company is from. If they're from Mars, it doesn't matter. If they do the job, they do the job. You know, and I think, like I say, you know, we're crying over spilled milk. And we should move on and go into this thing and go into it full-fledged. Like I say, we'll never know if we don't try. Like I say, we're blowing money all over the place. Well, we might as well spend some good money here and put it on and let the people see what's going on in town. Because without this TV station, nobody knows what goes on in town. Okay. As far as the health benefits are concerned, at the previous meetings, Mr. Simaluka mentioned at least 3 times that the white-collar contract which they outline their benefits by, or whatever they're so-called, was the word consecutive was removed, and 25 years was substituted. Now, I'm going to ask Mr. Suarez for an opinion, but you can't have it both ways. If you don't make it with the consecutive years, you don't have 25 years. If you have 25 years and they're not consecutive, you don't. So you can't have it both ways. And we seem to be tailoring our issues here to take care of certain people. And it is what it is. What's there? Like I said, Pete BS'd us for 4 or 5 years on the benefits, no ordinance, no nothing, no nothing like that. Now all of a sudden everybody's educated on the ordinance, that it said consecutive, the word consecutive was there. Where was that ordinance when we were asking for it? Nobody knew. And it seems to me in 2011, Mr. Simaluka tailored everything to protect himself for his benefits and left out Mr. Camilleri, who was a newcomer coming in, and he can no longer get benefits, or he's not entitled to them, or any new council person coming on. But Mr. Simaluka was allowed to keep his. Like I say, I remind you, the 3 other candidates that ran are no longer with us because they lied to us about taking their benefits and not taking their benefits, and they took them. This is the same thing. You're tailor-making something to fit your needs. And believe me, if the benefits were gone, I don't believe he'd be there. Like I say, he only made it by 4 votes this time anyway. That's neither here nor there. Mr. Suarez, through the chair, do you have any opinion on that? Consecutive and 25 years yet?
Okay. Right now, that issue is being still researched. There's been, since the last meeting, documentation that's been provided to me, and I still need to review some more information. However, with certain respects, I would need to discuss some of these issues in the closed session before discussing that in the open session, just because there's a number of issues that arise out of this question involving personnel, HIPAA regulations, because you have, health issues that are now being addressed here, and potential litigation and labor issues. It involves the contract, which is being looked at, ordinances. Clerk and I are going to have to get together and go over some other information that I don't have at this point. It's very complex in terms of trying to narrow things down because of some of the language and some of the issues that are now arising.
Okay. As far as labor, though, they are not township employees that we're talking about.
They're elected officials are not employees, they're officials, right? But if we're looking at the labor contract, the white collar contract, implications could reverberate with regard to employees. So that's why, like I said,
Okay.
there's a number.
But the white collar union is not going to come to their defense and pick up their legal fees and stuff like that, because they're not part of that union.
I can't.
I'm just asking. They're not part of the white collar union, are they?
They're not no,
Okay.
they're not part of the white collar
That's all I
union.
want to know.
Correct.
They're not part of the white collar union. Okay, there was also an issue brought up about Mr. Simaluka and Mr. Costa, their relationship. When Mr. Simaluka, should he have recused himself on the issues when there was business being voted on and stuff like that, because he did have a business relationship with Mr. Costa, or what is your opinion on that?
Okay, respond.
Through the chair to Mr. Suarez.
Two things. The first is, I don't know all the specifics. I don't know if we all do. I haven't spoken with Mr. Simaluka about, what if there's a past relationship, present, future, but I can tell you that with regard to the law as articulated through the, local finance board, which, dispels conflicts, the law is basically that recusal is necessary where there is a conflict, which would be where there's a financial interest, a pecuniary interest, or some sort of a personal interest. So the best practice under circumstances where there is a conflict, under those 3 circumstances, is to recuse yourself.
Okay, and like I say, shouldn't he have told us about that, or told the council, or told the attorney that he did have a relationship with him?
But I don't, he and I have never spoken about that. I don't know what he
No,
said
I'm
to
not saying you, previously.
the previous attorney.
Right, because that's when it was all done. It wasn't done under, Mr. Costa's not sitting here now.
Well, my opinion is that if, as a member of the governing body, if you believe that there is one of those categories, pecuniary, personal, or financial interest that you have with regard to a specific application or a vendor, professional, et cetera, the best practice would be to, the township attorney in the Township of Saddlebrook is the ethics advisor with regard to those issues, to discuss that with the township attorney and then follow the advice that the township attorney provides to you. And in fact, there's a case involving the former mayor of Hackensack, Jack Ziza, where in order to be protected in a situation like that, you want to get that opinion prior to voting on anything, and you want to get it in writing. There's a specific case on point in that. It involved the former mayor where he cast a vote involving a piece of property that affected his personal interest, and then afterwards, the attorney actually said, I gave him the advice that he could vote under those circumstances, and the local finance board, I believe, said that that wasn't sufficient. It has to not only be the advice of the attorney, it has to be in writing prior to actually voting on that specific issue.
Okay, so really, any project or anything that Mr. Costa gained financially, Mr. Simaluka should not have voted on that.
I don't know,
Because
like I
he's
said,
benefiting by it financially. Mr. Costa is, not Mr. Simaluka. Mr. Costa is.
if, I don't know, like I said, I don't know what the circumstances of
Well-
the particulars.
Yes.
If he wants to tell me, I never spoke with Mr. Simaluka
This
about
is,
this.
I don't know where this is coming from in terms of that I
Hold
never
on,
advised
Ms. Mays,
anybody.
through the chair. I believe this is my time right now.
You got
and I
unlimited
addressed-
time, though,
And I addressed
right?
my.
You want unlimited time.
Yeah,
you
but
got it.
I'm not
So-
talking to you, Andrew. I'm
Well,
talking to Mr.
you're
Suarez
talking
right
to
now.
me through him.
You butted in. I have the floor. Grow up, Andrew.
Really?
Don't sit up there and cry.
You're a jackass. You really are a jackass.
Okay, Andrew, whatever you say. You're the person, Andrew. You're the man right now, Andrew.
That's not cool.
He's not called for.
Yeah, okay,
Control yourself, Andrew.
yeah,
Control you. It's gonna get a lot hotter. It's gonna get a lot hotter,
yeah.
okay? Loosen up your tie. Please don't interrupt me, or when he does, hit the hammer. And I'm right now directing my questions to Mr. Suarez.
I'm sorry, the last question was, should the council person or should Mr. Costa? You saying the council person, should they recuse themselves?
I know Mr. Costa's not voting. I know the council's voting. Mr. Costa's sitting there trying to get as much work as he can and probably as much money as he can from us, as you can see in his bills. He's doing a good job
If there's,
getting the money, not working.
if you have a situation where, and this is, again, I don't know all the specifics with Mr. Simaluka and Mr. Costa, I don't know when or if or how their representation started or ended, but disclosure is always the best policy, where you would disclose something that, though that person, is a client of mine or not a client of mine or was a client, that's a good policy to follow. Or, under circumstances, because he's an attorney and I know also as an attorney, sometimes you have an attorney-client privilege where you may, just recusal is okay by saying I'm recusing myself, and you don't have to really go into the fact that that's a client or that's a former client of mine. You could just recuse yourself and abstain and recuse. Actually, it's not even an abstention, it's just a recusal on the issues involving a client, say. For other issues, you can disclose it, but if it's an attorney-client, as an attorney, that's something that maybe the client doesn't want revealed, and you would just recuse yourself and not say why you're recusing yourself. You're just saying I have a conflict and I'm recusing myself.
But it should be on all issues. It should cover everything, right? You just don't recuse yourself today, and then tomorrow you'll come in and they're going to vote on repaving Mayhill, and he's going to do the engineering and stuff like that. You should recuse yourself from anything where he's going to get a financial gain from the town. And anytime he's billing out the town, you shouldn't vote on anything.
If you're recusing yourself on an issue, you're recused on that
That whole
throughout.
thing, right?
Unless and until that point where there's no more conflict, then you don't have to be recused
Right, and I
anymore.
mean, you did say as an attorney, you should know that. I think you said that back.
I'm saying as an attorney, not as a council person, there's like certain prohibitions and certain rights that a client would have that the client, for example, has the right that if they don't want you to announce that you have some sort of relationship, attorney-client, because there's litigation or something along those lines out there, and if the attorney is the counsel person, respecting that, that's really paramount, the attorney-client privilege, then you would just basically recuse and not say, that's my client, I have a litigation actively with him.
Okay. The other thing I would just like to ask the council to really seriously consider about using Mr. Costa to finish this project. I don't think we're getting anything for our dollar. This gentleman here will be here with us for the next 4 years, okay? And, I mean, just from that, the way he handed the paperwork out that night and the $37,000 bill for architectural fees, you should know where he's coming from. And, I mean, that field is in your hands. You know what I mean? We can't do anything about it here. You people are to be the ones that are gonna finish it. And like I say, believe me, he's not giving you can see when a person's working for you and when they're not working for you. And I don't believe Mr. Costa is working, and I don't believe that he wants the job as the zoning board attorney. Because he hasn't showed up and he hasn't said a replacement or anything like that. And if, Mr. Mazur, if you would please look into that and find out what the rules are of that when he doesn't show up, or is he supposed to show up? I know the attorney shows up. If he doesn't, they send a sub. The engineer, previously when I served on the board, if they didn't show up, they sent a replacement. The planner was the only one that we said, if we need you, we'll let you know. And thank you.
Larry? I would just like the opportunity to comment on veterans, try to answer one of your concerns. Bob Costa was there from the start of it, and he was kind of just staying there to finish the project. We didn't kind of shift gears or want to start over again. And as far as an open checkbook, he definitely doesn't have an open checkbook there. We're collectively, I'm not speaking for myself, but for all the mayor and the council, we are watching our dollars and what's being done there.
Okay, but do you have any idea of what he's proposing, what it's gonna cost us for the bathrooms?
No, that's not out yet, Larry,
But I
because
know
we've
it's
got to
not
get
out
the
yet, but
drawings out.
what is he
and it's gotta
waiting
go to
for?
bid.
What is he waiting for? Draw you a set of plans or sit down with him and say, look, it's gonna cost $500,000. No, Costa, we can't afford that. We
Right.
can afford 3. Let's cut it back. I mean, he's putting tiles on the wall and doing everything. When, we're scraping, we're
Well-
worried about if we can afford toilets. Yes or no?
Right.
He's worried about how many
That's it,
toilets.
Larry. Once we get numbers that come in, we could
Well, I mean,
knock stuff down.
I know Mr. Simaluka is pushing for spring sports. That's why they started in December. I think we're the only one in New Jersey that started a project like that in December, and we've gotten a lot of work in the last 6 weeks.
Well, for the spring sports, what was presented to us.
I don't
is-
think the spring sports will be around.
They think that mid-April, the turf should go down on the field, so the field hopefully is going to be usable in mid-April. Okay?
Well, I'll tell you what, mid-April, I'll come back May 1st and we'll see.
All right.
Anyone else wishing to be heard?
30-year police veteran, Saddlebrook Police Department, and the creator of Saddlebrook Community Television. I didn't plan to come up here tonight. I planned to just observe. But I have to make a comment because perfect example when people speak when they don't know what they're talking about is what Mr. Ratajczak just said. I only volunteered for 1 year, and that was for Lou D'Arminio when he was the mayor. I started a television station when I was a Saddlebrook police officer and paid as a police officer, not as a TV guy. I never said anything at the caucus meeting against the gentlemen that are taping tonight. As a matter of fact, as the mayor pointed out, for anybody who was here to see by using his finger at me, that I had said they did actually a very good job, other than edit it when they should not edit council meeting. The video was fantastic. Video was great. That wasn't my complaint, never was my complaint, and the council has gotten 2 emails from me, you know where I'm coming from. I'm not going to go through it all over again. I'm talking about volunteerism, and there should be 3 residents that are taping this and not just a paid company, if possible, with volunteers. And I only suggest, again, that's something you consider for the future, and you try to make it so that the residents can do their own video, operate their own station, and we don't have to pay a vendor to do it. I agree with the mayor 100% that he wanted to get things on TV ASAP, and that's what he's done, and he did a good job on that. That wasn't my complaint, never was. But I guess Larry might have been listening, but he didn't hear anything I said Tuesday night. So I wanted to make sure that was corrected. Thank you.
Anyone else? Motion to close?
Make the motion.
Second.
Meeting is now closed to the public. Council comments? Start on Sullivan.
Mr. Sullivan had sent in a letter to all the council people, which I did read, and I'm sure everyone read it. In regard to that, I think the ordinance that he had provided us was just the noise ordinance. Now, it's my understanding that that noise ordinance may have indicated no Saturday construction, but I gotta say that I don't think there's any contractor in this town that hasn't worked on a Saturday. So I believe that there is another ordinance that talks about the times of construction that is not in the noise ordinance. They may be inconsistent, and it's great that it was pointed out, because if there is an inconsistency, we fixed that with the snow, because there was an inconsistency. When we found that out, we fixed it, and maybe we can fix this. But I do believe that there is an ordinance on the books that talks about the times of construction, and I do believe that it allows Saturday construction. What we did was we just amended the Saturday construction to give them an extra hour to do this. This way, they can get done faster, and it would be an overall less of an impact on the residents in that area. But I've asked Pete to look into that, and also Mr. Suarez to figure that out. In regard to that self-storage facility in that area, that, I think everyone would know or would consider it from Quick Check, I don't know where the next house is, on Terrazza Lane, which may be a quarter mile. That is all industrial or commercial. And for some reason, at some point next to Quick Check, that area was rezoned as 2-family residential. I guess when you talk about you do things for certain reasons, maybe there was a reason behind that. I'm not sure. I wasn't involved at that point. But it was rezoned from commercial or industrial to 2-family houses. And I got to assume that there was some plan in the making that it would be a bunch of 2-family houses that were built there. That's not taking place. So my suggestion is, just like I suggested before years ago, is that we zone it correctly and we take the appropriate steps. Now that we know it is not going to be used as 2-family houses, I think that we should rezone it and make it consistent, because you got Quick Check on the left, you got Enterprise Corrugated, you got all these industrial things, just like on Market Street. People may not remember, but I brought that up years ago, because Market Street is commercial on the south side, the side with the VFW. That is commercial all the way until you get to the building next to the VFW. Then it becomes residential, and it's residential at that office building, the VFW, the diner, and that on the spot, which is just ridiculous. Why would that be residential? It's never going to be residential. So I proposed, and it was passed by the council, and now everything on that side of the block is commercial or business. So I'm going to ask that we look into doing that. This way, everything is consistent. You don't want to have, it just seems silly that there's a 2-family section there. And what that also does is every time somebody wants to do anything on that property, they have to go before boards and get all kinds of use variance approvals, which is very difficult. And they shouldn't have to. I mean, they should just have to go for site plan approval, in my opinion. there was talk about Market Street with a mess. That's a county project, and really, the county took the lead on that. We were involved mostly because we got those traffic lights in conjunction with the county. So for most of it, that's all done by the county engineer in conjunction with our engineer. Some people think it's better. One of the reasons that they have all those ins and outs is to quell traffic, because otherwise it would be a 4-lane speedway. And that was a concern from people. And that's why that was done, because they didn't want it to be a 4-lane superhighway, so you can get from Lodi to Elmwood Park really, really quick. And we did have one, Mayor, you may remember, at least one person died. One of the reasons that we put the lights up and to try and quell traffic is because you don't want people are crossing the street, and you don't need them going 40 miles an hour over there. Just to correct something about the benefits, it wasn't an ordinance with the benefits. I said it over and over again. It's the white-collar contract that talks about the consecutive, and 20 was taken out, and 25 was put in. Consecutive was put in and taken out, but that's in the contract. That's not an ordinance. In terms of recusal, I've been here for 6 years. I think Costa started just when I was, 2 years after I was elected. So 4 years ago, I think that's when I met him, actually. And I said at that time I wouldn't vote on any of his bills, and I haven't voted on any bills because I have done legal work for him. I have done collection work for him, meaning if somebody hasn't paid him and he wants to do something about it, I have filed lawsuits on his behalf and actually have been very successful in that regard. I don't feel that I can't talk about any project that he's ever been involved in. I don't feel that as a councilman, I don't think that I should be shut out from that, because what he's doing is doing something which we all want to get done. I mean, I'm not a one-man island here. It's a 5-vote council, and usually some of the projects are brought up by the mayor. So I'm just one vote, and that vote generally is to see if a project is going to get done. And I don't believe that, I mean, if you go out, way out on a limb, you can say, well, he's benefiting from that project, but I don't vote on paying his bills. You know, he doesn't get paid unless the council says he gets paid. And I've never voted to pay his bills. And to say that there was no disclosure, that was said, I don't know how many times, 20, 30 times. And in the beginning, I said why I was abstaining on all those votes. And then after a while, it's just an abstention, or I've said abstention for the reasons that were put forth on the record. So it's no secret. It's no secret to, it was never a secret to Mr. Chakowski. Mr. Rodriguez brought it up at the last meeting, and I said, listen, if there's a legal opinion, and I'm telling you, I could sit down with Mr. Suarez, I do collection work for him, and I file lawsuits. And I've recently, actually today, filed 2 for him. And I hadn't filed one in like 3 years. What I did was I set it aside, and other people were doing his work. But he's not in. He asked me to do it. I did it. We all have to make a living. And that's what I've done. So certainly, after Mr. Rodriguez had said that, I'm not the one who's going to give the opinion, and I'll abide by whatever the town attorney's opinion is with regard to that. If the opinion is in any project that Costa is involved in, I have to, whenever they talk about repaving of a road, I've got to walk out of the council meeting. Then I'll do that. I'll live with your decision. Thank you. A couple of things. Flo, I appreciate saying about my mother, and I just want to give a thank you to Mayor White and Chief Kugler, and also some other Sheriff Sordino and Chief Minda and Brian Montague of the East Rutherford Police Force, and Lieutenant DiRienzo of the Bergen County Police Force, and Chief Quattrone of the Lodi Police Force. They worked it out, so there was a nice procession. I appreciate all that. And to everybody who has given their condolences, I really appreciate that, and I thank you. received a lot of support in that. And losing a mother, my dad died 48 years ago, so it's the first parent funeral that I've been to that I can remember, because I don't even remember that one. Couple of things, I wasn't here on Tuesday, I was not feeling well, but I just wanted to comment on the abandoned property ordinance. The problem I see, and I'll direct that to the town attorney, I don't see that there's an enforcement clause in there. So it says that what they've got to do and how much they've got to pay, but I don't see anything that says, what if they don't do it? So I think that maybe we have to look at that to maybe shore that up, so you can give your opinion as to whether we need that in there. In the nepotism ordinance, I think it gives a definition of relative, and the definition of relative only applies to council members. And I don't think that that's really consistent with the rest of the ordinance. What the hell is it? Jesus. Hang on one second. And then later on in that same ordinance, it talks about family members, but it doesn't give a definition of family members. So if there is going to be a definition of family, if there's going to be reference to family members, I think that you've got to also define that. Again, the definition of relative, it seems like it only applies to the council, and I don't know where that comes up. I want to give congratulations that we said to the spirit leaders and Janine Costanza, whose youngest child is graduating. She's in 8th grade, so she will no longer be involved in that, and she's done a great job. My wife did it for 7 or 8 years before that, and I know how time-consuming and difficult it is to deal with a lot of different people from a lot of different areas. Moms, kids, other coaches, other towns. It's a thankless job. So it's thankless, but I'm going to thank her for doing that. Tonight, we may be voting on the table of organization. And I just want to say that I believe that I'm going to vote in favor of it, but I just want everyone to know that I'm not in favor. There's some talk that it's going to go from 34 to 32 total members of the police force. That is not my intention. It's not in the ordinance as it's written here, but for some reason it's out there that it's going to be 32. I would not vote for that. I don't think there's any reason to change it from 34 to 32. The chief provided us with a chart, and that chart indicated the 4 lieutenants. And that's the reason that the TO is being changed for 4 lieutenants, because there's 4 squads, and each squad should have a lieutenant in a perfect world. However, I would vote for this under the express condition that that 4th lieutenant will in fact be a squad leader and will not be doing anything else but being a squad leader. Mm-hmm. And if it happens that that 4th lieutenant is taken out of the being in that position, then I think that's a disservice. That's not what I expect, and I don't know about the rest of the council, but we were advised that the 12-hour shifts require 4 lieutenants, and I think that lieutenant's got to oversee the squad, and if he doesn't, there's a problem. And that's about it for now. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew. Joe, anything?
Yeah, I have a few things. Andrew covered an awful lot. First thing, I would like to just acknowledge the Woman in History Month, and I congratulate Debbie Gross-Quattrone, Diane Bonner, Nancy Gara, Kathy Ioli, and Preeti Chirawat. I mean, that's an amazing thing, and I just want to congratulate you all myself. You're wonderful people, and I loved hearing a lot of the things. We do live in a great town, and there are a lot of really great people that live here, so I want to stay on that particular note, and I want to congratulate the Spirit cheerleaders for what they acknowledge, and it seems like year after year they acknowledge amazing things, so it must be a very good program. One more thing real quick, Veterans Field, again, it is in our lap, and I just want you to be rest assured, it isn't an open checkbook. We are trying to watch everything that goes on over there, and what we have to do now is do the best for Saddlebrook, and that's what I know I'm for that. I don't want to speak for everyone else in the council, but I think collectively, we're all pushing in that direction. And I just want to leave lastly, everyone have a happy St. Patrick's Day and a safe one. Thank you.
Yes. I'd like to address Mr. Ratajczak. As far as Mr. Costa, we do know your dislike of him. However, we felt it was in the best interest of the project to keep him. That being said, there weren't plans thrown at us on Tuesday night, and we agreed on them. We have been working on the plans for several weeks. We are all very serious and taking it very serious. We haven't decided on putting porcelain out on the outside. We're still talking about things. He is in the process of getting the drawings done so we can go to bid. So I'd just like to tell you that we really are working diligently to move this project along. As far as the ordinance for the lieutenant, I'd like to address that. I'd like to say that I am in support of the police department. I am in support of making promotions. That being said, I will be not voting for this ordinance tonight because once this promotion is made, we will have 14 supervisors for 14 patrolmen. The mayor said a couple weeks ago in the paper that he thought we were top-heavy. I think that this makes us more top-heavy. I believe that we should fill the TO first, put more patrolmen on, and then go forward. So therefore, my vote will be no. And I, too, would like to congratulate all the women tonight. And I think that's it.
Thank you, Councilman. Fine. It's a hard act to follow. I know. You're fast.
Just congratulations to all the women. The spirit leaders, I think that's the hardest working group in this town as far as team sports goes. Just congratulate them, and that's all I have to say as of right now.
Okay, thank you. Mayor, would you like to comments?
Yes, thank you. I have several items I want to go over. First, the mayor's youth group. This group, the mayor's youth group, works very closely with the elected officials and other community leaders on various community projects and events. I had a meeting with them, with the group, on Saturday, February 28th. The meeting went very well. It was well attended, very informative, and I believe we laid the foundation for a very productive year. Also in attendance were Projects and Activities Committee Liaison, Councilwoman Karen Darminio, Committee Chairman P.J. Punzo, Mayor's Liaison to the Youth Group, Regina Borelli, and Senior Youth Group Advisor, Thomas Van Winkle. Projects and Activities Committee. We are reestablishing and trying to improve our community projects and activities for our community. We feel it's very important to this administration. Councilwoman Karen Darminio has been appointed as the council liaison to the Projects and Activities Committee. Karen has extensive experience managing and organizing township events. She has been volunteering her services since 1996, first as a member of the Projects and Activities Committee, and then chairwoman from 2000 to 2010. She supervised all events in the town, and our goal together, along with the council, is to make these events spectacular and memorable once again for our residents, especially our children, to enjoy and appreciate.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Flood map FEMA meeting. The township received a letter last month from the Bergen County Executive, James Tedesco III, regarding new draft flood hazard area maps, which the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, had released over the last year. A copy of the letter was put in our township website and on Facebook for residents. I attended the February 10th seminar, which was at the county building, along with Township Emergency Management Coordinator and Chief of Police Robert Kugler. Some Saddlebrook residents, property owners, I should say, were in attendance and were able to speak to, or find out, check whether their properties were included in the new flood hazard area. They also had an opportunity to speak with FEMA representatives who were available to answer their questions. Open Space Grant Meeting. On Monday, February 23rd, I attended an open space grant meeting with Township Business Administrator and Clerk Peter Ladico, where we submitted our grant application proposal. The Open Space Trust Fund is a dedicated program supporting open space acquisition. We submitted our application proposal under the county program requesting funding under the floodplain protection program to match a grant that the township has already received from the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection, Blue Acres. After Hurricane Irene, we received that, and it's to be used to buy out property owners who have been affected most by repeated flooding. We should find out shortly if we will be awarded the county grant. Community Development Block Grant. On Wednesday, March 4th, I attended a community development grant meeting along with Council Representative, Councilwoman Karen Darminio, and Community Liaison Lou Varelli. The block grant funds are provided by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, HUD. The township submitted 2 applications, one proposing a storm drain repair and maintenance program, and the other in getting a reimbursement of the salary and wages for our senior citizen center clerk position. We presented our proposal to the Central Region Community Development representatives last night and have another meeting to attend to discuss the allocation of the grant monies. Flood Committee Task Force. As what you all very well know, as a community, we must be more proactive in addressing our flooding problem, which has had a tremendous impact on the township and continues to affect many of our residents. It should be, in my opinion, one of our highest priorities. We must utilize, in my estimation, a task force approach by working together with other municipalities to develop and share different ideas and strategies. This would allow, I should say, for a coordinated, regionalized effort to address flooding issues caused by our shared waterways. We must also continue to make necessary adjustments to infrastructure, which we have been doing, such as repairing drainage and desnagging waterways. In the near future, I will be looking to form a township advisory board of residents and officials to meet on a quarterly basis to discuss flooding and work together to address these issues. I will also be asking one of the interested council person to be the liaison to the county flood management coordinator. SBC TV. I'm very happy to say that SBC TV is up and running for our residents. We are hoping to keep the station operational and make improvements. Along with tonight's request for new equipment, we are hoping to encourage more community involvement and increase the amount and type of content. I would like to offer the school district the opportunity to air their meetings as well as events such as school plays and sporting events. We would also like to get the recreation programs involved and tape and broadcast some of their games as well. I assure you, it is our goal, me and the Township Council, to make Saddlebrook Community Television the best that it can be for our community. I don't profess to have all the answers, but I feel if we work together and rebuild the station incrementally in a responsible, efficient manner, we will be successful. Mr. Azzarone, I have to apologize to you for if I don't even recall putting my finger up, but it certainly was not my intention to intimidate you in any way. So I apologize for that. Lenny, this is the direction we decided, myself and the council, to go. I know you're not happy with the decision. It's your opinion that we're wrong, and it's your prerogative to complain about it. I believe we're doing the right thing for the community. And in essence, I think we both want the same thing, which is really to improve Saddlebrook Community Television. We just differ on how to get there. I want to congratulate the spirit leaders as well as my counterparts here have done. Mr. Simaluka, regarding the 32 and 34, as you said, it's not in the ordinance. It wasn't my intention to push that. I didn't push it. I could have asked the council to really seriously consider it. I didn't think it was something the council wanted to do, even though I am somewhat in favor of that. But I'm looking to be more efficient. And if you hear things out there, please ask me, because it was not my intention to go from 32, from 34 to 32. Not legally do it. I mean, I'm the appointing authority, as you said during the last meeting. If we don't get to 34, we don't get to 34. It's my prerogative, really, to hire 34 or 32 or whatever I want to hire, whatever I feel is appropriate, along with the chief of police. But we're not changing the ordinance. As far as being top-heavy, and Mr. Simaluka, your belief that we should have the fourth lieutenant as part of the patrol, I'm in agreement with you there. I am in complete agreement that I believe we should have, if we're going to promote four, it should be because of this 12-hour shift. And that the chief did mention, I had asked the chief that same question, and what are we going to do if, say, for example, this 12-hour shift initiative, which is a temporary thing at this point, what if for some reason we don't want to do it? We're entering into a memorandum of agreement, and for any reason, if the town does not feel that the 12-hour shift is a good thing, or the PBA feels that it's not something they want to continue, well, we'll stop and we'll go back to the 8-hour shifts that we currently work. I feel that as far as being too top-heavy, in this case, that lieutenant, as you said, would be in the patrol division, would be part of the operations. It's not where that lieutenant would be put in a command level position where they'd be taken off of patrol and would be working a regular 8 to 4 Monday through Friday shift. Because when that happens, that person essentially is taking out of the operations, and they're not available to rotate around the clock like all the other officers do. So the lieutenant in our police department, even though it's a ranking position, it's still part of the rank and file. It's not a command level administrative position. And in the interest of fairness, Mr. Ratajczyk, we did get those plans emailed to us a couple of days before. So we did have an opportunity. The plans that Mr. Costa submitted were emailed to us a couple of days before. But your point is well taken. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Before we go on to the ordinances, I'd like to congratulate the chief on his newly appointed position for LEAD. It is a law enforcement against drugs. And we commend you, and we wish you lots of good luck. I understand it's taking the place of the DARE program, and it's a worthwhile program, and we're very proud to have you chair it, Chief. Thank you. At this time, we're going to go on to our ordinances.
Ordinance 1588-15, an ordinance amending Chapter 154 of the Township Code of the Township of Saddlebrook, adding Section 22. Second reading.
Motion.
Second reading.
Second reading, yeah. Second.
Second.
Okay, roll call.
Councilman Simaluka?
Yes.
Councilman Camilleri?
Yes.
Councilwoman Diorminio?
Yes.
Councilman Accomando?
Yes.
Council President Mason.
Yes.
An ordinance amending Chapter 154 of the Township Code of the Township of Saddlebrook, adding Section 22.
Have a motion to open up to the public on
Motion
this
to open
ordinance?
to the public?
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting is open regarding this ordinance, and if anyone has any comments on this ordinance? No? Motion closed?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor? Just one comment, I'd like to commend Andrew for bringing this up. This is just, it's another level of safety, and I applaud him. Thank you. Roll call.
Be resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Saddlebrook that the ordinance entitled, an ordinance amending Chapter 154 of the Township Code of the Township of Saddlebrook, adding Section 22, that is now passed on second and final reading, and that the Township Clerk be directed to advertise said ordinance or title thereof in the press, together with the notice of the date of passage of said ordinance according to law.
Motion?
Motion.
Second. Roll call.
Councilman Samuka?
Yes.
Councilman Camilleri?
Yes.
Councilwoman Diorminio?
Yes.
Councilman Accomando?
Yes.
Council President Mazur?
Yes.
Ordinance 1589-15, an ordinance amending Chapter 33, Article 1 of the Township Code of the Township of Saddlebrook, for second reading.
Motion?
Make the motion.
Second. Second. Roll call.
Councilman Samuka?
Yes.
Councilman Camilleri?
Yes.
Councilwoman Diorminio?
No.
Councilman Accomando?
Yes.
Council President Mazur?
Yes.
An ordinance amending Chapter 33, Article 1 of the Township Code of the Township of Saddlebrook, for public hearing.
Motion
Have a
open to the
motion
public?
to open to the public?
Motion.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The meeting is now open regarding this ordinance. If anyone would like to be heard on it, now is the time. Motion closed?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Second. All in favor? Okay.
Aye.
Be resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Saddlebrook that the ordinance entitled, an ordinance amending Chapter 33, Article 1 of the Township Code of the Township of Saddlebrook, is now passed on second and final reading, and that the Township Clerk be directed to advertise said ordinance or title thereof in the press, together with the notice of the date of passage of said ordinance according to law.
Motion.
So we have a second?
Second.
Roll call?
Councilman Samuka?
With the understanding that, as we discussed before about the usage of the additional lieutenant, and also with the understanding, and it's in the budget, that we will be hiring at least 2 more officers, I will vote yes.
Councilman Camilleri?
Yes.
Councilwoman Diorminio?
No.
Councilman Accomando?
Yes.
Council President Mazur?
Yes.
Ordinance 1590-15 for first reading is an ordinance adding Chapter 51 entitled Abandoned Property of the Township Code of the Township of Saddlebrook for first reading. You have it?
Yes, with the,
Council President,
Yes.
let me just give you some information. If you want, I could add some additional information, but Mr. Samuka, just so you know, with regard to this, if you go into section 51-15, it talks about the public officers' responsibilities and powers.
I saw that, yes.
Yeah, and it cross-references NJSA 55:19-20 et al. And I'll give this to you if you want after the meeting.
Is that the penalty provision?
Yes, and what it allows is the authority, and if you want to specifically identify other penalties, you can, but it gives certain powers to the authority who's identified in here as like your construction code official,
Okay.
the administrator, et cetera, you know, to sue, to be sued, but if you want to specify specifics other than that, I can do that, you know, you can amend it before the next meeting, it's not a problem, but,
It would be a minor amendment, so we wouldn't need to
Correct.
do the public.
yes.
We can talk about it at the
Yeah,
next work
it's fine,
session.
we just hadn't had a schedule.
It wasn't here Tuesday.
Yeah.
just for the public's knowledge, because this ordinance will not be open to the public. This is an ordinance that we're having first reading on. It's for abandoned property in town. So someone, at least, someone will be responsible for at least the maintenance and the upkeep of it, not just walk away from it scot-free. Motion?
Motion.
Second.
Second. Roll call?
Councilman Samuka?
Yes.
Councilman Camilleri?
Yes.
Councilwoman Diorminio?
Yes.
Councilman Accomando?
Yes.
Council President Mazur?
Yes.
Be resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Saddlebrook that the ordinance adding Chapter 51 entitled Abandoned Property of the Township Code of the Township of Saddlebrook, heretofore passed on first reading, be further considered for final passage at a meeting to be held on April 2nd, 2015, at 7 o'clock p.m., or sooner after as the matter can be reached at the Municipal Building, 93 Market Street, and that at such time and place all persons interested be given an opportunity to be heard concerning said ordinance according to law, with the notice of its introduction and passage on first reading, and of a time and place when and where said ordinance will be further considered for final passage.
Motion?
Motion.
Second. Roll call?
Councilman Samaluka?
Yes.
Councilman Camilleri?
Yes.
Councilwoman Diormino?
Yes.
Councilman Accomando?
Yes.
Council President Mays?
Yes.
Ordinance 1591-15 is an introduction of an ordinance to amend Chapter 154 of the revised general ordinances of the Township of Saddlebrook entitled Property Maintenance to require clearing of snow around hydrants. First reading.
Just I'd like to make a comment also to the public. With this ordinance, we are taking into consideration that you may have to make provisions for the elderly and disabled who do have fire hydrants in front of their house or in their vicinity. But for the most part, we need those hydrants to be visual to everyone. And minutes it save lives. Okay, roll call.
Make the motion.
No motion?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Second. Roll call.
Councilman Samaluka?
Yes.
Councilman Camilleri?
Yes.
Councilwoman Diormino?
Yes.
Councilman Accomando?
Yes.
Council President Mays?
Yes.
Be resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Saddlebrook that an ordinance to amend Chapter 154 of the revised general ordinances of the Township of Saddlebrook entitled Property Maintenance, required clearing of snow around hydrants, heretofore passed on first reading, be further considered for final passage at a meeting to be held on April 2nd, 2015, at 7 o'clock p.m., or sooner after as the matter can be reached at the Municipal Building, 93 Market Street, and that at such time and place all persons interested be given an opportunity to be heard concerning said ordinance according to law, with the notice of its introduction and passage on first reading, and of a time and place when and where said ordinance will be further considered for final passage.
We have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Second. Roll call.
Councilman Samaluka?
I just want to first thank Mr. Camilleri for introducing this. I saw it in the paper, and I totally agree with this. Yes.
Councilman Camilleri?
Yes.
Councilwoman Diormino?
Yes.
Councilman Accomando?
Yes.
Council President Mays?
Yes.
Ordinances. All items listed with an asterisk are considered routine and non-controversial by the Township Council and will be approved by one motion. There will be no separate discussion on these items unless a council member or member so requests it, in which case the item or items will be removed from the consent agenda and considered in its normal sequence on the agenda. The one motion signifies adoption of all resolutions, receive and file letters, correspondence, reports, and approval of minutes and applications. Resolution number 10 is not part of the consent agenda. Payment of bills, constant engineering.
Madam President, just a point of order. Just the ordinance, the nepotism ordinance, did we table that? Or
Wasn't on the agenda.
it wasn't on the agenda?
For tonight.
We're just here, okay.
I can talk to that. And I would also take 17 off the consent agenda, and I would refuse based upon what you had stated before on 17. That's my advice.
Which resolution?
To approve cost engineering to prepare specs and authorize and advertise for receipt of bids.
That's resolution
17.
All right, pending your full legal opinion, yeah, sure. But
We
also,
have two
And
resolutions.
17.
Yes.
okay. Also, could you pull resolutions 1, 2, and 3?
1, 2, and 3.
1, 2, 3, resolution 19,
19.
and under raffles and applications would be number 3.
Oh, and the raffles. Oh.
Public place number 3.
Yes.
Okay.
Is it public place number 3? Okay. Motion to accept,
Consent,
accept,
consent agenda.
yeah, accept the ones that we did,
Right.
pull. Motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Roll call?
Councilman Samaluka?
Yes.
Councilman Camilleri?
Yes.
Councilwoman Diorminio?
Yes.
Councilman Accomando?
Yes.
Council President Mazur?
Yes.
We have resolution number 10, payment of bills, Costa Engineering.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Roll call?
Councilman Samaluka?
Abstain.
Councilman Camilleri?
Yes.
Councilwoman Diorminio?
Yes.
Councilman Accomando?
Yes.
Council President Mazur?
Yes.
Resolution number 17, to approve Costa Engineering to prepare specs and go out for bid for Veterans Field.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Roll call?
Councilman Samaluka?
Abstain.
Councilman Camilleri?
Yes.
Councilwoman Diorminio?
Yes.
Councilman Accomando?
Yes.
Council President Mazur?
Yes.
Resolution number 19, authorize mayor to sign a contract and Locosa Video.
Do I have a motion?
Make the motion.
Second.
Roll call?
Councilman Samaluka?
Okay, I asked that this be pulled, and it's nothing against these gentlemen, and from what I've seen on TV, that they are doing a great job. It's more of a ceremonial no vote, because Mr. Halco got beat up here for years, because he has stated that he took his stipend of $4,500 or $4,700 because he had to do all the work to run the TV station. And my calculations, my quick math, it's about $20,000 just to tape the council meetings. And then everything beyond that is $100 an hour. And there's some special events that would be $300 for each special event. So I think it was a disservice to him for years to come down on him for doing that. And again, no reflection on these gentlemen. I'm hoping, like Mr. Azeron has said in the past, that we can get some volunteers. We had volunteers in the past. And for the life of me, I don't know, in this age where everyone's posting YouTube videos and or wannabe internet sensations, I don't know how there are not kids in our school system that want to get involved in doing this and learning how to film and edit and do all that kind of stuff. So I will, again, nothing against these gentlemen, but I will vote no.
Councilman Camilleri?
Yes.
Councilwoman Diorminio?
Yes.
Councilman Accomando?
Yes.
Council President Mazur?
Yes.
We have resolutions 1, 2, and 3, which is to approve the liquor license renewal. Mr. Samaluka, we can do all three in one.
You can, but I just, before I vote, I will be abstaining because I have represented Neha and Anish Inc. in a matter or two in the past. But in talking to the principal in Neha and Anish, indicated that the corporation went bankrupt years ago, and I'm just confused as to how they are getting a liquor license, because
It's still in their name. They have filed the renewals. The state just cleared the renewals for council action. That's why it's 3 years worth.
it's just odd, because I did speak to him, and I said, listen, I gotta vote.
And it's
This
going up
is
for-
on the agenda, and he says that corporation hasn't been around for 3 years, we went bankrupt, and then I started another company, and then that went out of business, and now I got another company, so,
The license is being sold at an auction by the New Jersey Division of Taxation. So we have to renew it in order to,
okay, so it's renewed in their name, however, it's not,
there'll be an
not
auction
a real
on the
company.
license.
Okay, I'll abstain.
Councilman Camilleri?
Yes.
Councilwoman Diorminio?
Yes.
Councilman Accomando?
Yes.
Council President Mazur?
Yes.
And application number 3, the Golden Pub, renewal.
Motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Roll call?
Councilman Samaluka?
I'll abstain, I've represented the principal in that corporation in the past.
Councilman Camilleri?
Yes.
Councilwoman Diorminio?
Yes.
Councilman Accomando?
Yes.
Council President Mazur?
Yes. this time, I'd like to entertain a motion to open a meeting to the public on agenda items, and agenda items only. But I do want to make one comment. I will not tolerate any name calling or badgering. I will shut the meeting in a heartbeat. We have a motion.
Motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The public portion of the meeting is open at this time.
Good evening, Madam President, council members, Mayor White, and the community of Saddlebrook. I want to thank the council for passing the ordinance tonight. It was a very important ordinance for the police department. We date back 6 years. We wanted this initiative, 6 years, and we've been kicking the can down the road for a long time. It's the best practices today, and it's the best conditions. Conditions maybe weren't good some years back. There was distrust, there was undermining, there was a lot of things that we now forget and we move forward. So all things are good right now. Everything is positive. This move will be positive. It'll put more police officers on the street. It will increase morale in the police department. You will have more officers working, allowing others to take off. For years, we have to allow people to take off. When they take vacation, you're down to a skeleton crew. This shift, this 12-hour initiative is going to increase the manpower. It's going to put more police officers on the road, not sitting in headquarters with the chief or, doing things that are not safe for the community. So I want to thank you for that. It's a trial period. The mayor and now the police department will get together and draw up an MOU for us to agree to. It's going to be a 1-year trial period. If it doesn't work, we tweak it. If we don't want it, we abandon it. But thank you very much for allowing us the opportunity to do it. And I can tell you, it's going to be a great thing for the police department and, more importantly, for the benefit of the community. I want to comment on the LEAD program because I think there's a lot of confusion in law enforcement, and I'm sure there's a lot of confusion amongst the general public. But the LEAD program is basically the new DARE program. When you announce the word DARE, and if I would ask Mrs. Aioli what is DARE, she knows because she's been in town for a long time. She loves Saddlebrook. I heard that tonight. I love it too. And there's many in here that love it as well, and at home. But the DARE program basically had a curriculum issue. And New Jersey took offense to it, took it to task, and we created our own program, Law Enforcement Against Drugs. And it's a tested program. So when you hear the word LEAD, just think it's DARE, because that's the problem. It's a brand name. When you hear that word DARE, for the most part, the community knows what that is. It's a drug education and prevention program that the police department and the schools have a partnership in. And I would be remiss if I didn't thank the real officers that do the program. And we have a host of them, but currently we have Lieutenant William Havison, Officer Jeffrey Panagia, he's in the room tonight, Officer Doug Haberman, and Officer Chris Stanton. They're the ones that go into the classrooms, touch base with the children, and do what's right to hopefully educate and prevent them from getting involved with drugs and dangerous behaviors. I don't want to forget our other officers. Years ago, Captain Topet, he was the original officer that brought that program to our community. Officer Schroeder, and specifically, because he's here, Officer Lenny Azzarone, who was not a DARE officer, but was very instrumental in creating videos and favorable things for that program. I want to thank all those who really get all the accolades for that program. With that being said, I want to congratulate the ladies in history that got their awards tonight. And like Mrs. Aioli said, Saddlebrook is a great community. She loves it, and I know all you do too, because she wouldn't be sitting up there if you didn't. So thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you.
If I may, just, Chief, best wishes on a speedy recovery. You look a heck of a lot better than you did the last time I saw you before you had your thing done.
I just want to clarify one thing about the plans that I that you said that I said that I gave out that night. When I seen the expressions on your faces, it was like the first time you've seen them. If that wasn't, it's my mistake, okay? As far as me and Mr. Costa, we go back a couple of years, or a year ago, or 2 years ago, with the Mayhill project. Mr. Costa sat there when Mr. Suarez is sitting, and he lied to this town. He lied and said that Mayhill was certified and ready to go.
Larry, can we keep it to the agenda?
Okay, I have to clear up the thing. And I don't have a problem working with him. Okay, like I said today, he hasn't shown up. He's called me on 2 occasions and says if we're gonna spar every week. I thought Mr. Costa was a professional, and I would run that zoning board as a professional. Whatever happens at the zoning board is business. If he doesn't like me, or if I don't like him, like I say, I'm to the point in my life, I don't care who talks to me and who don't talk to me. So if we have to conduct business here, we conduct it as professionals. But I think Mr. Costa has a problem. And by not showing up, that tells me that there is a problem. And that is the reason why I wouldn't put myself in a business or a relationship with somebody who I can't trust. And he did lie to the township, that that road was not complete. And Mr. Lodica was part of that deal also, and they swim and swam. That was another
Again,
Mayor
Larry, you're
Chamberlain's
going
deal.
Mr. Ratajczyk,
Okay,
I wasn't
that's
part
what
of
I'm
any
just saying.
deal, so just cut that out once and for all. Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to be heard on the agenda items? There were, no. Motion to close?
Make the motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any other comments before we close? No? Once again, congratulations to all the honorees this evening. Happy St. Patrick's Day, everyone. And good night. Motion?
Motion, that's right. St. Joseph's Day, the 19th.
St. Joseph.